our next part of this RLS Spanish lesson. Our learning objectives for this clip. First one is I will be able to introduce myself and others. So I want you to be able to introduce yourself and introduce other people. So here's the vocab you need to know to be able to introduce yourself and others in Spanish. Okay. First part of this is you need to say yo soy blank. Okay, yo soy blank. Yo means I, soy means I am. Okay, what's happening there is you actually don't have to have the word yo in Spanish. You can just say soy. Like saying yo soy is basically the same as just saying soy in Spanish. Okay, yo soy means I am. And if you just say soy by itself, it means I am. Okay, so that's one way to introduce yourself is just to say yo soy and then your name. Okay, so like me, I would, since I'm saying my name is Señor Rix, Mr. Rix, I would say yo soy Señor Rix. I am Mr. Rix. Okay, like I said, I could leave the yo out and I could just say soy Señor Rix, and that would mean I am Mr. Rix. Okay. So that's to introduce yourself, okay? An easy way to introduce yourself. Just say, yo soy, your name, okay? If your name's Bob, yo soy Bob. If your name is Barbara, yo soy Barbara, okay? Now, if you want to introduce others, introduce someone else. L means he, and ella means she, okay? And then S means is. So if you say LS, that would mean he is, and then you would fill in that blank with his name, okay? So if I'm with my friend and I introduce myself and my friend, let's say, my name's Señor Rix, I'm saying my friend's name is, let's say George, okay? I would say, yo soy Señor Rix. Then I could point at my friend and say, L.S. George, okay? Sorry, so L means he, right? So that'd be like he is George. If it's a girl, I would say ella es, okay? So maybe me and my wife are somewhere and I want to introduce myself and then introduce my wife to somebody. I would say yo soy Señor Rix. I am Mr. Rix. Then I could say, point at my wife and say ella es Señora Rix. She is Mrs. Rix, okay? Or let's say it's me and my mom somewhere and I want to say, introduce myself, then introduce my mom. I could say, yo soy Señor Rix. Ella es mi mamá. She is my mom. Or I could use her name. I could say, ella es, I'm just going to make up a name here. Ella es Betsy. Okay. Let's say her name is Betsy. So she is Betsy. So I'm Mr. Rix. She is Betsy. Okay. All right, so that's an easy way to introduce yourself. To say, yo soy so-and-so, LS so-and-so, AS so-and-so, okay? Now, another way to introduce yourself and to introduce someone that's with you is by saying, like, my name is so-and-so, and then saying his name is so-and-so, and her name is so-and-so, okay? So the way you do that in Spanish, you're going to say, yo me llamo, and then your name, okay? Now, one thing here, literally, yo me llamo, yo means I, me means myself, llamo means I call. Notice that llamo ends with an O, okay? Anytime you have a verb in Spanish that ends with an O, that O is going to make it mean I do something in the present tense, okay? In this case, it's I call, okay? The yam part kind of means call. The O on the end means I am the one doing it, okay? Same thing here, like I said, with yo soy. You don't have to have the yo there, okay? Yo me llamo means I call. Basically, I call myself, okay? Now, let me go over here. In English, the way this is going to translate is my name is so-and-so, okay? By the way, some people get a little messed up with that because literally what you're saying is different than the way it translates to English, okay? Literally, you're basically saying, I call myself, okay? but we don't say it that way in Spanish. Like, you don't go up to people usually in English and say, I call myself Mr. Ricks. You know, we would say, my name is Mr. Ricks. So anyway, that's why it translates that way. Okay. So sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over here, but going back to the yo, you don't have to have the yo there. Okay. So yo me llamo, I call myself, or my name is. If you left the yo off and just said me llamo, that means I call myself or my name is. Okay. There's a lot of grammar that goes into that. I don't want to get into the grammar right now with that, but just know that you can either say yo me llamo or you can just say me llamo. Okay. Also, a little review here. Remember that the double L makes a Y sound, like the Y in the word you. It's a y sound, right? So this word is y amo. I wanted to point that out back here with ella. Okay. So the way you say this is ella, because that double L makes a Y sound. It's not ella. Okay. In Spanish, it's incorrect to say ella. You say ella. Ella. Okay. So ella means she. Llamo. Also has double L. That means I call. But you use it to say my name is. So yo me llamo, Señor Ricks. Okay. All right. So I'm introducing myself. I'm going to say yo me llamo, Señor Ricks. If I'm introducing other people that are with me, if it's a male that I'm with, I would say él se llama, which literally means he himself calls. Okay. It's like he calls himself, basically. But the way we'd say it in English is his name is. Okay. If it's a female that I'm with, I'd say ella se llama. Okay, and that ella means she. The se basically means herself. The llama would mean calls. Okay, it's like, and I should be a little more clear on this. The a on the end. Notice that the up here you had an o on the end. Notice that's the same word, same verb. You have llamo and llama. Okay, it's the same word. The only difference is the ending. Like I said, if it ends with an O, that means I do it, I call. If it ends with an A, the A right here, that is going to mean he or she does it. Okay, so it's like he calls or she calls. Okay, so me llamo is like I call myself. Se llama can mean he calls himself, or it can mean she calls herself. Okay. Just so you know, llama can also mean it calls itself or you call yourself. Okay. But it's probably a little more common to hear it. When you hear it, it's most likely going to mean like he or she. He calls himself, she calls herself. Okay. So anyway, introducing yourself, you'd say yo me llamo, your name. And if you're introducing a man or a boy, a male, you'd say él se llama. And then his name. And if you're introducing a female, you'd say ella se llama, and then her name. Okay? So just really quick practice. Yo me llamo Señor Ricks. My name is Mr. Ricks. If I'm introducing, let's say, I'm with my brother and I go somewhere, I could say él se llama, and then my brother's name. Let's say my brother's name is Bob. I could say él se llama Bob. If I'm going somewhere with my wife, I introduce myself, I'd say yo me llamo Señor Ricks, and then I could point at my wife and say ella se llama Señora Ricks, or if I wanted to use her name, instead of saying Mrs. Ricks, I could use her name. Let's say her name, I'm just going to make up a name. Let's say her name is Susana. I could say ella se llama Susana. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to point out here, a common mistake I hear people make is they want to add the word S right here, okay? And also up here, they'll do that. They'll say like, me llamo S, okay? Or se llama S, or él se llama S, okay? Or ella se llama S. That is incorrect, 100% incorrect to put an S right there, the ES. Okay, and the reason people do that is they think they're saying my name is, okay, and so they think they need that S there to say is, but that's part of why I'm pointing out here that literally what you're saying is different. Literally what you're saying is I call myself, or he calls himself, or she calls herself, okay? So you don't need an S with that, right? because you wouldn't say I call myself is Mr. Ricks. I'm just going to say I call myself Mr. Ricks, right? And I wouldn't say like my friend, or let's say my brother. I wouldn't say like he calls himself is Bob. Let's say his name's Bob, and just be he calls himself Bob, right? Okay. Anyway, I know this might be a little confusing for you, but what I'm trying to point out is literally what you're saying is different than the way it translates in English. Okay, so you're not literally saying my name is, even though that's what it's going to translate to. Okay. All right. So yo me llamo Señor Ricks. Él se llama Bob. His name is Bob. Ella se llama Susana. Her name is Susana. She calls herself Susana. Okay. Let me check real quick. Okay, yep, that's the end of this one. So just a very quick review on how to introduce yourself. You can either say soy, I am, and then your name. You could say yo soy, which also means I am. So like yo soy Señor Ricks, or soy Señor Ricks. Or you can say yo me llamo Señor Ricks. Or on this one, you can also leave the yo off and just say me llamo Señor Ricks. Okay. To introduce someone else, if it's a boy, you could say LS. Let me go back to that. Say LS Bob. Okay. Or you could say El se llama Bob. Okay. So LS Bob, he is Bob, or El se llama Bob, his name is Bob. Okay. If it's a girl that you're introducing, you could say Ella S. Let's say her name is Susana. So you could say Ella S Susana. So she is Susanna. Or you could say Ella se llama Susana. Her name is Susanna, or she calls herself Susanna. Okay. All right. So a good way to practice that one is just to start using it. Okay. When you're introducing yourself to someone, you can say, I'd go around your house maybe if you have other people in your house, and just practice using that. Say, walk up to them, say, yo, soy, your name. Or soy, and then whatever your name is. Or yo me llamo, whatever your name is. Or me llamo, and whatever your name is. Okay? And then introduce, if there's multiple people there, you can say like LS, he is. And AS, she is. And El se llama, his name is. And ella se llama, her name is. Okay? So just practice those until you get them down. Anyway, you just got to keep practicing them, repeat them a bunch of times, and that's how you will eventually get that memorized. Okay? All right, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining us on this one. Adios. Hasta luego.